Okay, Arbitrary Interlude number 4. I got some scattered thoughts uh, floating around up here, and I think I'm going to just lay some of them on you. Let's see. Let's do a quick recap on what I'm doing. I put up my last interlude video, and then I did a new blue review on that I discussed last year at Marienbad and a Serbian film. That last one is getting knocked quite a bit online because of the pre-order thing. Everybody's like, you know, stifle this, on Twitter. Not everybody, but a vocal minority is screaming about how horrible the film is and how perverse and demented it is. So now, I'm not going to lie and say it isn't horrible, perverse, and demented. I don't think it's a horrible movie as aesthetically, but I think it's pretty damn perverse. Um, that doesn't mean I or the people on Twitter who are defending it support any perversity in that particular movie or story. Um, there are some disturbing things in some of my stories that have yet to come to light that they're not executed. I don't plan on executing them the same way as the Serbian film. But yeah, they're dark. So what else is going on? Uh, hmm. I just want to see if you're still around. If you're not, that's cool. I found out that most impressions are made within like the first 3 minutes. That's when most of the views of my videos are made, and that means a lot of people just don't stick around for the middle or the ending. So they're kind of first act people, and I guess I lose them when I go into the second act, or by the end of the first act, I've lost them. So I was trying to think of ways to make my openings more compelling and to jump right into the meat of what I'm talking about a lot quicker. Maybe like in the first 30 seconds, but I haven't mastered it yet. Obviously, this video is an incredible example of how little I've mastered in that area. So yes, those are my two newest videos, and then this will follow. Who knows what will happen next after that? I probably will do another like soul bearing kind of video because, yeah, I think I need to. I think the world needs it. No, I'm kidding. I think I need it, and they seem well received. When I can actually slow down and calm down and kind of get more introspective. So, I mean, I like being more hyper and silly, but at the same, and then also dry and deadpan. But at the same time, uh, I like when I'm very much myself and communicating in a measured fashion. Um, I have many facets, so different ones are going to show up in different videos. It's not all going to be the same tone, maybe even the same video. Like I probably already have done that way. Started off hyper and anxious and ended up being very mellow and reserved, and then kind of went full circle. The Black Sabbath ones, I am going to continue. I'm going to do like history of the band. I'm not going to like recite the whole history from day one, but I will probably go more or less in order with not things that everybody knows, but misconceptions, what I call myth conceptions. There's so many of those. So I'd like to, square some of those up, clear them up. Where does Black Sabbath fit in the constellation of occult rock bands, which is one of my favorite subgenres. that's a question I'll answer in the next Black Sabbath video, because that's all about their beginnings. Now, I will say this: they're not perched at the very top and everything emanates from them. Uh, they are they're about a rung down. It pains me to say it, but fortunately, the band that you know band or bands that came slightly before in the same general territory, albeit not with Tony's mountainous guitar sound. Um, those groups are also very good. Um, so yeah, I want to explore that, and I like talking about that kind of stuff because I like clearing up inaccuracies. And if I don't know something, I'm just going to say I can't remember. There's no point in me uh, throwing some apocryphal anecdote in there just to add to the misinformation and disinformation floating around everywhere. That's not what I want to do. I like to research things. I like solid facts. I also like opinions and viewpoints. So you'll have plenty of all of that as I kind of move forward. Um, Flickr Street, I have begun moving my um, massive 17-part treatment that I wrote a few years ago and then edited between 2017 and this year. I see my cat is trying to make a cameo back there. Anyway, I have been basically cutting and pasting and editing, re-editing again these entries as I put them all on my Henry Covert's Flickr Street Facebook page over the years. And they're all going to be one long piece. They're going to be divided into chapters, etc. It's way longer than I thought it was. But I'm going to keep it raw. I'm not going to edit it again. It's going to kind of stand as kind of like take one, kind of like draft one of the world of Flickr Street, the whole history. But the headcanon and official as far as communicating it to other people, continuity will be in my next set of treatments. I'm going to basically redo all these treatments from different vantage points, add in things that weren't in there before, tie in things that are in the past with the current storylines I'm working on that take place in the current day within the continuity. Yeah, I want it to be richer. I want it to be better written. Not quite so just rote, recitations of facts. There's certain things I've changed my viewpoints on that I'm going to retcon a bit. Not so much edit out any characters or major events, but just the perspective is going to be quite a bit different. When I was writing all that, I was deliberately writing some kind of Tolkien-esque history of this world. With that kind of, I don't know, it's a little stuffy, and a little trite at times. And so I edited as much of that out as I could when I transferred them over to my Facebook page. Did a lot of work on them, but as I got to part 17, I realized I wanted to interject a chapter of wholly new material that fit into, that continuity, that part I was at. And I don't know. I am going to go ahead and do it. That's the last one I have to post of the old ones. I posted part of it. I have like 2 more little small chapters, and then that's it. I'm already started on the massive moving project and the one document project. I don't know what the document will be called, but it will be on my official Flickr Street website, so people can peruse it as they see fit. I think I did mention some of this in my last little diatribe, whatever I'm calling them, the arbitrary the arbitrary interludes, digressions, really. But hopefully, it's also some progressions. But not only have I started doing that, I've started writing the new ones, and I've made an outline of all of them. And I just sat down and did that one afternoon this week while I was having lunch, and came up with the names of all the chapters, uh, roughly what time spans each one was going to cover, a couple of indications of events and characters, nothing major. That's kind of, I already know that. So, but I need to set it all down. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I did an occult flavored extract uh, from a found document within Flickr Street, and posted it on my Flickr Street page a few months ago. And some people really liked the writing itself. Um, it was rather obscure, rather inscrutable, possibly obtuse, and that's okay. I mean, that it will be explained, the best way to the best in the best way I can explain it, the events. But the flavor, the writing, and the actual, uh, the actual prose, that is something that I do want to improve and enrich. It's time. It's time to take that step, from all synopses and dialogue into like some description of the world, but done with some kind of flavor. Um, I'm not sure if any of this is making any sense, but let me know if you think I'm just rattling and you don't understand what I'm getting at, or let me know if you do get it and if you dig it, or I mean, don't tell me if you hate it because I'm real sensitive, but you can just keep silent. But I'm probably by saying that I'm encouraging someone in the comments to start just talking smack to me endlessly. But I don't know if enough people know or are even aware of this channel to have anyone do that yet. I don't think I'm big enough for hecklers yet. I may never get big enough for hecklers. Um, some of my early videos from a couple of years ago, unboxing videos of Blu-rays. Some of the people in a certain cult movie group that I used to help moderate on Facebook, they kind of like piled on and massively voted down my video. I mean, put like they all put thumbs up, so the thumbs up percentage of negative to positive was like uh, like 50 to 1. Well, no, it wasn't that big a disparity, but like say I had 2 or 3 thumbs up and I had like 7 or 8 or more thumbs down. Did this on 2 videos, and that was like concentrated bursts of boycotting right there. Because the only reason they did it is because I voted down their leaders a couple of his early videos. But to be honest, I didn't like them. When he started doing them, uh, he and I were on pretty good terms. I didn't like them. I didn't hate them, but they make mine look super high tech and rehearsed by comparison. Um, Now, I don't know if he's progressed any over the years. I don't care. Maybe one day, out of morbid curiosity, I'll check it out. Um, but to me, he's not saying anything. To me, he's not saying anything of value in the cult film community. That's just my opinion. Some people may revere him, but I'm not going to name his name. I don't want to cause a bunch of internecine drama within the horror film or film community online. But I will say that I don't regret. Pardon me, I'm going to move slightly. Um, I don't really regret saying any of this because again, it's true. It's either facts that truly happened or it's truly my viewpoint. So um, I'm not influenced by anything or anyone else to feel this way. So I'm not sure how I got off on that tangent exactly. Oh yeah, the YouTube videos being voted down. Um, they don't seem to have done it on my current videos. I mean, possibly by saying this, I'll be unleashing that energy into the world and aka jinxing myself. Um, but I'll deal with that when it comes. I don't honestly don't give a fuck about their opinions about anything. So and that stymies people who want to anger you, upset you, hurt you. When you get to that level, like, just don't fucking care. No rage, no drama. Just you know, you can dismiss these people or that milieu or that scene and just move on and realize that they mean nothing to your life. They're not adding anything to the communal conversation really, and that's on them. Maybe they'll find their way. Maybe not. I'm not wishing them to fail. I'm definitely not wishing them to succeed either, though. They can do whatever. So I've encountered groups and pockets of people like that over the years. Some have gotten to the point where I've softened on them. Some of them I've hardened, and there are some of these things I want to talk about at length in some videos coming up. I had the idea yesterday, and I'm trying to think of the most, um, I don't want to say polite or genteel, but the most magnanimous and fair way as possible while still expressing, what might be kind of uh, unsettling views within certain communities of artists and fans and collectors and geeks like me and myself and I, um, you know, because I do value the work of a lot of them and I do value their friendship, um, but at the same time, uh, as a friend of mine at work says almost every day when he comes in and he's just kind of wringing his hands with nothing to do. He's like, I'm just not feeling it, man. I'm just not feeling it. And that's kind of how I feel about that subculture that I'm vaguely referring to, alluding to, is that I'm just not feeling it anymore. But I still like it. I still respect it. I think there's still some cool people involved in it. Um, there are other kind of pockets of fans and creators that certain communities of them that I just find ridiculous, and some of them are extremely popular, and I'm not really into extremely popular things anyway. For the most part, I mean, obviously, the internet and streaming and all this other technology has changed that. So what used to be an obscure kind of like punk rock little project can now be seen by thousands and thousands of people. YouTube itself, that's a fantastic example. This is like a DIY kind of project for me. This is like my little zine on camera. I always wanted to do my own zine. I wrote for a few zines, but I never ended up publishing my own. Um, and I guess this is kind of a platform. So, but yeah, there will come a time when I will name some names, and not in a vicious way, but try to be fair as possible. And um, then there will be some people who I will get into, you know, uh, what I really like about what they're doing, and maybe even recommend some things. I'll also get into some things in those subsets, communities of that I really dislike the work and the people who make the work. And in most of those cases, I won't be naming names because the whole litigious nature of certain personages is just disturbing. And I've had two lawyers in my life. One helped me settle my father's estate in probate. get it out of probate, and my other lawyer handled my divorce. I paid both of these lawyers out of my pocket with my own money. The first of the two was pretty inexpensive. The second was a bit pricey, but I had to do it. So I don't really want to have to hire another one. I can't afford it at this point to hire a lawyer, to retain a legal counsel. And in the real world, there's no Matt Murdochs around. Would that there would be. Okay, and that will help me segue into some news that I heard this week, and I followed it up in a couple of sites, what I call fan bro sites, because they're kind of, I don't know, they have kind of a overly geekish, kind of retrogressive, kind of gossipy view of things. Like they slag everything, but they go into tremendous detail. Like they'll slag an episode of Titans, endlessly, but they'll also go into every detail of the plot and every single minutia, and with not much insight. They're just reciting stuff, and we saw it. We don't need, if not, we need to see it. We don't need you to, write the entire plot. Writing the whole plot of something is not a way to review it. I mean, it can be fragments of the plot, but at the beginning of the plot and either end at the end or end at an arbitrary cliffhanger part. I've done it before too, but I think it's not. I don't think it's gets people's attention. I think your viewpoint going in and giving the overall impression of what you're reviewing or discussing, that needs to be what draws people in immediately. And then you can break it down into plot details. But again, doing it in linear fashion, I don't think is interesting to a lot of people. So that's advice I would give any writer who wants to do reviews. I have some friends, close friends, who want to do some, and I hope they'll be good, but things like this should be considered, and this isn't said to hurt anyone's feelings. It's just a matter of just something that might be helpful. Now, I'm not an editor, and if I was an editor, I wouldn't be stern. I would like to think I would not be horrifically stern. There are a few of those floating around in the genre, literature, and media communities, and some of them have gotten very well known by being ruthless and cruel. That's just not my thing. I don't want to be remembered as, if I ever I'm remembered at all in the association with art that I've either created or commented on. I would rather not be remembered like someone like Harlan Ellison. Brilliant writer. So in that case, he's remembered well. Maybe even still a little underrated. Even though he's very well known now, but of course he's deceased. But as a person, I wouldn't want that to be my legacy. Being constant, angry, provocateur. I thought at one time in my life that I wanted to do that, and I don't. I prefer peace of mind. I'll be glad to vent my opinions, but I'm not as vehement about a lot of this stuff as I used to be, and I still hold a lot of these views, and I think they're valid, well-informed views. They're not everyone else's views. Some people may take them as recommendation on how to see something or how to view something, or some of them may take them as, just dismiss them and say, hey, this guy is really, really off his rocker. He's out of control because I love this stuff. Why does he not like it? And they may love it and I don't like it, but that's kind of the point. Me a few years ago would have been like, they love it and I hate it. Just like, I hate it. And so that's kind of the mentality of the fan bro sites. They pick everything absolutely to pieces. Bleeding Cool is one. Screen Rant is one. Off the top of my head, Comic Book Resources veers in that direction at times. Those are some of the great offenders, but there's quite a few others. IO9, That's one that I used to follow a lot, and it just got to where it was wince-inducingly geekish to the point where it wasn't communicating. It wasn't communicating anything deeper about the work. It was just, it was kind of like gossip, and I don't mind gossip. I grew up on soap operas, and like Prince said in one of his songs, you don't have to watch Dynasty to have an attitude. That reference will be totally lost on his next generation of fans, but Dynasty was a popular soap opera in the 80s, nighttime soap opera, and the characters were very catty. They were very gauche and cruel and to each other and nasty, and so that's what Prince was singing about. Now if you've ever wondered, I'm sure a lot of you already know this. Anyone who grew up in the 80s knows all this. Prince and Dynasty, they were inescapable fixtures of the pop culture foundation of everything around us in the 80s. So, Prince kind of was the 80s in my mind. Um, you know, I saw Purple Rain in 1985. That's like halfway through that decade. What a perfect marker. There was before Purple Rain and then there was after Purple Rain. I never thought of it that way before. This is just, I'm making this up as I go along, but I kind of do. Yeah. I think that's a valid interpretation. Um, so the news, and then I'll probably, go ahead and just bow out after this. I've rambled enough, but the news that I was reading was about all the new Marvel movies. First off, we're in the middle of this global pandemic. I don't see how filming can be anything but even more expensive than it used to be because they are having to cut so many corners and do so many other different things to make allowances for all of the social distancing and stuff, and the masks and et cetera, just working around people, getting people regular COVID tests so they can like perform on camera without masks. And, more power to them. If they can create some great work and all during this era, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm not sure I've seen one entire work on television or cinematically that was filmed from beginning to end during COVID. Uh, I'm sure I will. Some will be emerging soon, I'm sure. In 2021, we'll see how these things are turning out. But Marvel is trying to get the jump on this and kind of pollinate everyone's minds with these little seeds, of excitement. And I'll be honest, I used to get excited about that kind of stuff. I still do to an extent, but I'm less excited about the Marvel movies than I've ever been, and I've been a pretty big fan of them and supporter. With a few exceptions, I've been very kind to those movies in print and on the internet and among friends and um, in my own household. I've watched them over and over. Some of them I've seen over and over in the theater. Not many, but I saw Thor Ragnarok 4 times in the theater. That's a lot for me. I can't afford the time or money to see a movie that many times in the theater. But I was kind of hooked on that one. Um, but basically, my train of thought threatens to derail. I hope it won't derail completely because I wanted to wrap this up. Okay, so the Marvel slate for 2021. So they're talking about these Disney Plus TV series they've shot, supposedly shot, finished. They just did a teaser trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I love the Falcon. I loved the Falcon in the comic books. Since I was a little bitty kid, I loved the Falcon. To me, it was Captain America and the Falcon. That was it. Even Jack Kirby adapted his stories when he took back over Cap and included he didn't get rid of the Falcon. He kept the Falcon's name on the banner. I mean, he could have easily been like, Cap's my character, Falcon's not, and I'm just going to come in and just do my own thing. And he kind of did that with Black Panther when he took it over, but he didn't do it with Cap. He kept Sharon, he kept Falcon, he kept Leela. Longtime readers will know the characters I'm talking about. Because I'm sure if they're even around nowadays, they're completely unrecognizable. And I have no interest in the modern incarnations of Marvel characters in comic books. That's something I'm pretty vehement about. Um, but the movies have generally drawn on my memories. They're generally made by people of my generation, for people, I guess, of my generation, but also for people of the next generation. So you could say they're made by Gen X, and they're targeting both Gen X and millennials. Uh, and now with all this Disney stuff, obviously they're probably going to be targeting the generation after millennials, with these TV series. I mean, that means if they're Disney TV series, they're going to have to scale them down as far as maturity, in my opinion, unless you have some really shrewd writing. That's going to get old real fast. I like adult stuff. Even my superheroes, I like adult takes on them. That's just me. I'm not a little kid, and I don't have any children, to be honest, that I'm aware of. And, I can't tailor myself around a child's taste. Um, why do that? I was already a child, and I was a pretty sheltered and slow socializing. My socialization was very slow, and I was intellectually voracious, but I was socially utterly inept, and just, yeah, it was bad. But I forced myself to break it, and life forced me. So it's just one of those things. Some people aren't so fortunate. Some people can't break it that easily. And mine wasn't easy, but I'm just saying some people can't break it, and it's hard. Um, but the thing is, Bucky and Falcon, I don't care about Bucky. I mean, I thought the Winter Soldier stuff was done pretty well in the movies. He's got a haircut now, and I just had to watch the trailer. I am prejudging. I'm just going by stills I saw. Um, so I will watch that trailer with an open mind. I'm just not terribly interested in it because those two characters without Captain America, that's fine, but it's got to be a compelling story. Maybe it is. WandaVision, I have seen a teaser trailer and I liked it. It's kind of a combination of the modern day Marvel comic where the Vision makes his own family and has domestic bliss, and the old romance between Vision and Scarlet Witch, which has been captured in the movies. Um, I'm not sure how Vision is still alive. I get the feeling Wanda has used her powers to create kind of this alternate reality where she's happy with him. Um, I like that. I completely dig those characters. I always have. Once again, when I was a little kid, it was Vision and the Scarlet Witch, man. I mean, for years and years, that's where my roots are. And Daredevil and the Black Widow, they didn't last as long as Cap and the Falcon and Vision and Scarlet Witch, but they had their little period too. And it was when I was, I was just, reaching out on the newsstand tenuously for these, crazy colored pictures and asking, begging mommy to give me one, and then that's how I got snagged into this whole comic book thing. Um, so there's supposed to be a Loki series too. Um, but I don't know nothing about it. I don't know nothing. Oh, I don't know anything about it. I don't know nothing. And I'm assuming, that one I have really about zero interest in. I'll just be frank. I think Loki, I think he was played out in the movies. And I think Hiddleston's a really good actor. He's great in High Rise, which is a hard book to adapt from J.G. Ballard, but Wheatley did a fantastic job. I mean, what a perfect movie. It's even set in the 70s, and it even has Jeremy Irons. If the movie had been made in the 80s, Jeremy Irons would have been playing the Tom Hiddleston role. That's a movie I'll have to review sometime. I have that on Blu-ray. I really love it. It's underrated as hell, and I'm a huge fan of the book and of Ballard's books. Yeah, Ballard's Crash. I mean, Cronenberg's adaptation of Ballard's Crash is coming out on Blu-ray on Criterion this month, January maybe, December or January, or maybe February. Very soon. It's been announced, and the artwork's been, and the extras and everything have been unfurled. I just have forgotten the dates. When I can afford it, I'll add that to my collection. I loved that movie too, and the book. Yes, the book is better. Um, yeah, but I think he did a great job. Um, I think he captured the flavor, and I think Wheatley captured the flavor in High Rise, and that's really what it's about. That essence, in adaptation, that's the precious thing. It's not the trappings. I mean, if you want to reinvent or rethink or reimagine something, um, you're going to go and you're going to be able to transpose what was magical about that original work into another medium or into the remake in the same medium, or whatever your form of adaptation is, and your retelling of the story. So you have that kind of sacred trust as a storyteller. It's kind of come down to you, this modern mythology. So now it's your turn. Your meaning, the filmmakers, the artists, the writers of today. It's your turn to um, give us your version, your interpretation. But so many are flawed and compromised going in because it's about money and popularity in most cases. The vast majority of these horror remakes have been done by mainstream companies who really have nothing, whose work really has nothing spiritually to do with the films that they're remaking or the era or flavor that they had and still have, and they'll never be as powerful as those films. So but they're trying to, always trying to improve them. Again, they like to say, I'm not remaking it, I'm reimagining it. But if you're not remaking it, then don't call it the same thing. Don't name the characters the same thing. Don't give the same basic plot. Uh, you know, and yet leave out the heart, the soul of the thing. Um, yeah, I'll drone on about that sometime. Now, I used to be more vehement about this too, but I'm not going to shout about it. But I do feel strongly about it. I don't know if I'm going to shout about anything. So that's the little Marvel Disney Plus TV slate. So the movies, it's like Doctor Strange has been reannounced. Everything's been pushed back because of COVID. Um, Doctor Strange is going to be also dealing with this multiverse thing, just like Scarlet Witch and WandaVision. And I'm not really all that psyched. I didn't like the Doctor Strange movie, and I didn't hate it. I did think Benedict Cumberbatch was fine as Stephen Strange in all the other movies he's appeared in. Well, that amounts to Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame. So, but I thought he was great in all of those, and Doctor Strange occupied the place he should occupy within the Marvel universe, this being the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He did it in his own movie. Talk about losing the soul of something. The plot was much closer to the comic books, happily, than the 1978 television film was. But I gotta say, for all its cheesiness and being dated and taking some weird liberties with the material, there's kind of a, if you want to say this word, it's going to be like the Stan Lee from my childhood breaking back in. The it had the wonderment of the comic books. That crazy word. So the '78 TV movie had the wonderment of Doctor Strange. You could feel it. The Spider-Man TV series didn't have that wonderment of Spider-Man. You were just wondering, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they even trying to make this work? It looks so bad. I mean, the Japanese Spider-Man series, it was also probably low budgeted, but man, it sure looked a lot better. Sure was a lot better made. And even though it had even less to do with the comic books than the poorly adapted Nicholas Hammond show, but the Doctor Strange it had that thing in it, and that's why I keep coming back to it over the years and enjoying watching it. It needs to come out officially, and it still hasn't. Um, but the movie with Cumberbatch, directed by Scott Derrickson, I think is his name. No, and all the improvements and all the tweaking and the kind of politically correct stuff with the Ancient One. That fuck all that. There was no purpose. There just wasn't a purpose. I mean, the whole movie was a gamble anyway. Having a character like that appeal in a mass way. So why don't I just do it right? I mean, look how long it's taken to do a sequel. I mean, it made a lot of money, but it wasn't a super blockbuster. And I don't know if they were expecting it to be or not, but it seems like they were trying to make it one. They were compromising the material and the fine actors in the movie, and giving them either miscasting them really badly, such as Mads Mikkelsen or yes, Tilda Swinton, or they were, you know, not bringing out the best in the material through the work. And there's a few scenes that are pretty amazing. Uh, Really, some of the best scenes are before he even becomes master of the mystic arts. When he's kind of a semi derelict and finds the ancient one, and when he finally says, "Teach me," and his fucked up hands and everything, and he's got a beard. I'm like, that man, that's right out of Ditko's playbook right there. I mean, that touched me. But the rest of the movie wasn't really like that. So anyway, moving on. So his sequel's been announced, and the Eternals was pushed back. It was supposed to come out in November. It will be coming out, I guess, next April 2021. I think that's correct. No, it will be coming out next November. So it was pushed back an entire year from its original release date, and so it's been finished for a while. They're probably still tweaking it, but I'm sure it was finished. It was wrapped before COVID exploded, and likewise the Shang-Chi movie. But not much is leaked out about the Shang-Chi movie. Little tiny bits about Eternals, or maybe I'm just not paying attention. Maybe in avoiding the fan bro sites, I'm avoiding the gossip that actually would appeal to me. I will go see Shang-Chi. I will go see Eternals. Those are other comic books that I grew up with. They were very much a part of Marvel in the 1970s, and that was when they were born. And I was really obsessed with Marvel in the 1970s, even though the first part of the 70s I was, barely aware, really. But so Shang-Chi is going to come out earlier um, than Eternals. And then the Black Widow movie, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be an announcement on that officially. I think it'll come out soon. That's the impression I got from a few, sensational ads, on the internet. But I don't know. It's all hype. Um, I have seen the trailer. I do want to see that. It also has some characters I like in it being adapted, and I like Scarlett fairly well as Black Widow. I don't think she was the ideal Black Widow. They went a little young and a little popular, a little mainstream in casting her, but she's acquitted herself decently, I have to say. There are times I've really enjoyed her in that role. So I hope this movie will be good. Has a good cast. The only other project that's upcoming that doesn't now have a date, I don't think, unless I overlooked it, was the Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. Now, Mahershala Ali, with the haircut he sported in the flashback sequences of True Detective season 3, that look is kind of really close to the Wesley Snipes Blade. So I'm sure someone saw him and went, "Wow." Now he's a little bit older now than Snipes was when he started playing the role, and Blade either ages normally or doesn't age normally, depending on what comic book source you're looking at. He does have a bit of vampire in him, so it would make more sense for a guy Snipes' age to play when he was playing Blade to play Blade. He's too old now to play Blade, just like Hugh Jackman's too old to play Wolverine, and Wolverine's immortal. They had to give come up with the idea that he's dying and his healing factors eroding in Logan. That was a good way to deal with Jackman's apparent aging, and then even make him look even a little bit older as the movie goes on, because and haggard and wounded, because he's got like 150 plus years, catching up with him all at once. Logan is an incredible movie. It may be the best movie made about a Marvel character that I can think of. I'm sure there's one I enjoy more. So I don't know. It's not my favorite one, but I think it could be the best one. Uh, it kind of it transcends the whole genre with that while embracing it. That's a great thing. So I'm worried about Blade because I do want to see Mahershala Ali as Blade, and I recently got into the Blade movies after 20 years. I mean, I had seen the first one shortly after it came out, but I had never seen the second one. I didn't want to see the third one, but I finally watched both, and I thought two was. Oh, I watched all three, and I thought the first one was fine. It was solid. I thought the second was really good, and Guillermo del Toro did really do a lot with the material. Enjoyed it a lot. The third one kind of kept going, with the momentum of the first two. But Goyer behind the director's chair wasn't as assured, as he was writing them. And, Ryan Reynolds wasn't as bad as you thought he was, but that was one where the spirit of they adapted more elements straight out of Tomb of Dracula, where Blade hails from in the comics. But the flavor was not there. It didn't feel like Tomb of Dracula. The guy who played Dracula was atrocious, looked atrocious, acted atrocious as a Dracula. Everything about him was awful. Parker Posey vastly upstaged him as the main villain. So anyway, I've gone veering now into comic book movie reviews at random. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, and I'll be back soon with more official reviews, I guess, and some Black Sabbath stuff and etc. So anyway, take care. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.